Yanji Chimbo to the Hingmisha, only Molam Chimbo, Abjata, Pakartan, Sandu Mado, Tumba Tuji Chanla, Keep Shanksar. So woman Chuje Anji Pavana, Disum Sanji Ganjang, and year on some Jurgum on some Donza bed, Zavela Manam Langu Shaksar. Good morning. A weakened mind. For the awakened mind, there are few things are very necessary in order to recognize or in order to practice the Dharma. The first, I think it is very important to have a strong commitment to the practice of Dharma, and have to continue the specific sort of instructions or practice you are doing until you finish practice. Otherwise, if you do not have this sort of commitment and continue to practice on a specific thing, you might lose or you will not get anything done, and you will be easily lose your intention or the confidence to practice Dharma. So first of all, very important to have a commitment to the practice Dharma, and then continuation, continue to practice that. Not this and that, but kind of specific instruction. You have to finish and then go to sort of next. That's very important. And so to have this called strong commitment to the practice is very, very important. And in order to maintain a strong commitment, you must have a very good understanding and the essence of the practice that you're doing, right? You have to understand the benefit, the value of the practice. That's very important. And then this sort of commitment will arise and come through practice instructions, and also especially your experience that you're practicing. So first, very important to have this commitment in order to practice Dharma correctly and perfectly. And another thing that is very necessary for your Dharma practice is your faith and diligence, right? These are very usual teaching for the practitioner must have to know. So because faith gives you the great pleasure and satisfaction, because you recognize, you understand the benefit of the practice. So then you have sort of strong, certain belief, so that you can do this practice very well. And your faith is very important because it sort of inspires you and creates your Dharma practice. This faith is not something that you just believe without understanding, right? So, first of all, you understand the essence of your practice, then definitely you have sort of confidence, and I can change this, I can do this. So that's kind of faith I'm talking. Very, very important. And diligence is very important for the Dharma practice too, because then you are able to actually to put the instructions, the teachings into your practice. So, and also it's necessary for your Dharma practice is receiving the teachings, right, and instructions from your teacher, and put them into practice correctly and without sort of defect and without an misunderstanding, you know. Although the instructions are without defect, very profound, but the way you sort of implement the instructions could be wrong. For example, if you try to practice the emptiness or the great perfection without having a generate any bodhicitta for others, and without renunciation for this world, the samsara. And then, although the instructions of emptiness, the great perfection, is very profound, but your practice of the emptiness will not give you any sort of good qualities, because you are missing the cause and condition of the great perfection. Of course, the teachings of great perfection is, and it's also especially instructions are not, I think, found in other sort of spiritual tradition. I think, although different people belong by their sort of character to different paths, it's necessary for them to practice according to their capacity. Otherwise, there is no beneficial, right? But when we talk about emptiness, great perfection is kind of very unique. And in order to be able to practice the great perfection, it is essential to be completely convinced, to be absolutely certain of the view, completely sort of understand the correct view. Otherwise, usually we say two things will happen. It will wrong, which are, you know, which we call your conduct or your action should be loose in the view. That's one thing. And your view should be loose in the conduct. So that's a second thing. So this means if you don't understand or understand the view of the Dzogchen practice, then this will happen. This means that the view is actually, the view is understood as the sort of certainty that all these phenomena and everything are empty, right? And emptiness. Because of this is it's nature, right? That's your view. But this view is very profound, and this is something that usually sort of most practitioners are not yet able to realize directly, and uh, and until they do, the fact is that they experience, for example, we experience happiness, suffering, uh, virtues, non-virtues, um, sort of karmic process of cause and effect. All this exists for us, right? Um, so if we think sort of, everything is emptiness, so therefore, there are no such things as virtues, no such thing as a karma, no such thing as cause and effect. And if we do everything, or we sort of um, um, everything we like, we do, like killing or stealing or whatever. Nothing there's virtues, nothing there's unvirtues exist. This we call to lose conduct in the view. It's very important. Padmasambhava said that do not let your action lose in the direction of the view. If it does, you become an sort of evil person, and unsort of wholesome belief and negative action. You act, everything will be very wrongly. There is a danger, um, and on the other hand, uh, to lose your view in your conduct. This means that, sort of simply speak, you don't believe true nature at all, uh, and as a result, you may lose your confidence in the view. If this happens, then the liberation or the clear sort of realization of the view will never come to you. Sambhava also said, do not let your view lose in direction of action or conduct. Otherwise, the liberation will never come, because sort of you think this is we see, this is we hear, this is we do, nothing other than that. You just don't have or don't understand the view of true nature of all this phenomena. So you just don't believe that. Actually, it doesn't mean that there's nothing behind your perception, your view, but you just don't believe, right? So that's we call it. You lose your view. So if that happened, then of all your actions can be sort of completely negative, because you think that everything completely sort of exists because of actually because of this ignorance, because of this grasping, So it will be very dangerous, right? So therefore, it is very important for the practitioners like us to practice according to our capacity. That's I always think, If you don't have capacity for something, you try to practice, then maybe wrong, and our teachers very kindness, right? Very grateful, because they sort of explained many different levels, many different ways of instructions in order to teach us to sort of recognize or understand the true nature. So that's why it's very important to put Dharma practice into sort of practice in sort of very skillful way, with an understanding of the correct view of practice. Because, some yogis and some sort of practitioners have this kind of problems already. They lose their view in their conduct. Some they lose their conduct in the view. That's happened in Tibet right now, actually everywhere. So it's not. This is not. I'm just talking that will not happen. This is very dangerous if you not practice correctly in your capacity. Then this will happen. So that's why very, very important to have a teacher and the instructions put into this instruction your practice correctly and with sort of skillful way. Otherwise, Dharma practice can be dangerous. Change really your view, your conduct, your action, your, everything really can change good way, but also change bad way. So it's very important. And it's also necessary for your Dharma practice is to maintain the mindfulness, right? We must be mindful of what sort of conduct to adopt and what conduct to abandon. Because through our the commitment, mindfulness, we develop stability in our practice, and it's also important in sort of meditation to have a good sort of motivation, which is of course based on a bodhicitta practice. So these are very important. Keep in your mind, we are on the path, but we have to sort of go through all the way this kind of experience and until we get liberation, So it's very important to know the correct way to practice. I think it's very important, to think what sort of makes our life actually easy and free of problems, So that's actually, usually, when we think about, for example, bodhicitta practice, very important. We always say we think about other living beings, all of that, right? It's think about others and benefiting all these living beings. It's very, very good intention, good motivation. But it is very sort of, how I say, this very big picture, right? It's difficult. I think it's difficult to make sort of everybody happy. It's almost impossible, But it's easy to think that what brings happiness and peace into our daily life, your life, what is the best sort of attitude that gives the most sort of meaning to our life. This kind of things very important to always think, we have to sort of ask and ourselves and investigate, because the result of this kind of question or investigate and practice is to really help to remove all the obstacles from our mind. So therefore, we have to find out the genuine sort of happiness, right? And the cause of happiness, because that's actually we are looking for, right? The happiness actually we are looking for. Uh, whether you are a Dharma practitioner or not, everybody's looking for happiness. And when we talk about happiness, happiness uh, doesn't necessarily mean only sort of you get something from somebody or you will sort of successful, you know. There are many um, causes and conditions for happiness. Sometimes, you know, um, we get something, right? And it's make us very happy. Sometimes we give away things, and it's also make us happy. Sometimes we practice satisfaction, contentment. Uh, it brings also and sort of make us happiness. So happiness basically, for example, for me, is sort of really deep understand uh, about the external and internal is sort of reflection each other. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's sort of me. For me, is that's sort of cause of happiness, my happiness. Uh, Everything is changeable. I can do that because of this. I can do this because of that. So internal, external, nothing exists. It's reflection. It depends each other. That is the cause of happiness. Uh, and also happiness is deep sort of understanding the nature of our human quality, you know, which is something that never ever, you know, separate from us. We have already this. And so this happiness or the truth is not only part of the, part of the Buddhist tradition, but I think it is the really sort of universal tradition uh, because of it's the nature. It's especially the human nature. So that's why we can sort of lead better, more calm and more peaceful life and more peaceful day sort of in order to have the opportunity to practice. That is the cause of happiness, I think. You know, um, usually the teachers say that uh, you know, you must be able to practice under any sort of circumstance, good or bad. And you must sort of bring the mindfulness and awareness to your daily life and ordinary sort of relationship. Of course, the practice meditation is actually the great opportunity to understand about our situation, uh, observe our thoughts, all of that, and also sort of developing our own positive inner qualities. And it is also best way to help others, right? But I think it's very difficult to practice under sort of unpleasant situation, you know. Uh, so we should really know that um, what is the benefit, and what is the sort of sign that we have received the teachings and our practice, and we practice in the instructions and the teachings. Uh, the point is that having receiving the teachings, Dharma teachings in practice, we should find when we examine our situation, ourselves, uh, because even though we may not sort of have been able to eliminate our negativities, totally, but for instance, if we have a difficult situation and circumstance, we should really try to remember our Dharma practice and the instructions, rather than sort of being very sad and lose your whole strength. Uh, that's not so good. So I think usually, I always think that, people have a difficult situation in circumstance. Um, at that time, at that point, you have to, that's your meditation for. That you have, when you're happy in good circumstance, good situation, um, you actually don't see very clearly the value, the benefit of your meditation. But if you investigate and try to practice, remember your meditation under your sort of difficult situation, then you will see the benefit of your meditation. You know, that's very important. That's why we are meditate, right? That's why we're meditate. And we have to remember, for example, like, impermanence, uh, love and compassion, and to remember to sort of practice of Tonglen, you know, which means think about other situation or sufferings, and then I think compared to your situation, maybe you will see your suffering, your situation is nothing compared to this person's situation. You will find that. You will see, how difficult some people have, like suffering, the difficult situation. So then, oh, my situation is nothing. So that gives you so really courage and inspires you, and to remember clearly your practice meditation if you do this, and especially to remember um, the precious of your life, it's very important, you know uh, try to enjoy every single day, because the life is not so long, so you have to really enjoy your life. um, if you waste one day, that's very bad. you know Try to enjoy every single day, because of your life is very precious. The most precious is your life, nothing else. Your life means how you take care of your life, actually, not really focus on outer world, but inner. Life is inside you. So you have to enjoy. People have a little bit difficult, then they lose everything. I understand that. It's not good. People have a little bit sort of, difficult situation, not so difficult, but they think this is really difficult, and then they lose everything, lose temper, lose sort of happiness, um, uh, can't take care of each other, can't take care of your life. It's everything difficult because you don't remember your meditation, right? You don't remember how important your life. So if you, for example, if you have difficult, you sad and you lose your meditation, you practice, um, day after day, you develop that negative, in your mind, and then you experience that longer, all the time, you are actually practice, right? You actually practice your uh, your negative situation, and you develop that. Um, but don't really think that, it's I just told you it's changeable. It's never like that, we're up and down. So uh, to remember your practice, it's so important when you have a difficult situation. That's the only, I think, solution. I think only if you have a difficult, for example, you get angry, or you are sad, or you are lonely, feel sort of lonely. What is the antidote for those things? What is solution? Only practice. Only remember uh, your practice. Think about, especially I think these four thoughts that change your mind. It's very profound. You have this kind of, uh, you know, most people really don't try actually to remember, these amazing teachings in practice. They just, um, people are easy to meditate when that's Buddha said, actually, if you're a beginner, and then when you're free, your negative emotions, sort of, when you're free from negative emotions, you should practice. That's a good way to start, right? But the main point is you have to remember this practice when you have a difficult situation. That's the point. Uh, and sort of you need to accept yourself in whatever your circumstance, either good or bad. You need to sort of develop your mind, sort of emotional balance, inner peace, compassion, love, and wisdom. All of that is the best antidote. I think sometimes, also we need to a little bit sort of slow down and to think, because sometimes our life is too much. It's full of activity, and we are doing so many things, necessary or not necessary. We just doing so many things. So that can make us also really worries, and sort of, there's no time to practice, and no time sort of to take care of our life sort of meaningfully, so too much, right? So um, it's, most of us, we can practice and can sort of remember the teachings and instructions in good situation, right? But it's difficult for us to practice in difficult situation, so that's why, always have to remember, for example, when we get angry or sad, we should find that even if we do get angry, but we are less involved and are able to keep um, ourselves in check, and our anger has sort of at least diminished a little bit. That is the uh, essence of your practice. This is sort of, the signs we should be looking for as a practitioner. When we usually my teachers say that when you are very happy in good situation, you actually don't know how to investigate uh, your meditation. Your meditation is correct or not correct. You're just really happy, right? But when you get angry at that time, you really can't investigate and how your meditation is really good or not. So if you can be patient or calm down, if you cannot calm down when you get angry, what is your meditation? You know, uh, that's actually it's easy to say these things, and it's difficult to really deal with this when we really get angry. But we have to check, right? We have to check what is the point of the meditation practice. We spend lots of time, right? Some people really practice many hours. So really need you really need some experience, right? Some experience. Otherwise, waste your time. So you should check. You should check when you have a difficult situation. Uh, uh, you can check, and you should remember your meditation, and then you will see how your mind. When you have a difficult time, then if you remember the teachings and your mind very sort of immediately freed and very peace and sort of you will experience the happiness there, then it's really good, right? It's really good. There is almost impossible to have a happiness all the time. So that's why we have an opportunity to check, when we have a difficult, when we are suffering. We are suffering until we get liberation. So that's why we need these solutions. We need really antidote. Uh, it's very nice to understand, the high levels of meditation practice, the experience, all of that. But I think it's very necessary uh, is to learning um, this kind of things, which is really helpful in our life day to day, if you remember. Understand? The cause of happiness is to remember love and kindness, impermanence, so good. People don't like to think about impermanence, but that's I think ignorance. So impermanence, if you really deep understanding about impermanence, makes you happy. And remember your precious human life. These are the solution. You don't want to really waste your precious human life. So let's say, for example, if you're going to die tomorrow, are you ready? We have to think like that, very in short way. I mean, I hope we have a long life. If we have a long life, we have more time to prepare for our death or our, the next life. But if we don't have long life, then we have to think at least something. We go to groceries and buy food for tomorrow. Make sure that I have some food in my refrigerator, right? Because I have to eat. We're preparing that kind of things every day. But how about our death? So that's very important. Women, I always think that if I'm going to die tomorrow, am I ready? I'm not ready. I have to do many things. But then there is no sort of, disappointment. If I remember that, then I have to meditate or do something good. Try to diminish our negative thought, my thought. That because of I'm thinking about my death, right? So I don't know, my life, how long, how short. So make sure that there is I have to prepare. So there's no disappointment, there's no expectation, but every single day, make sure I have to something sort of develop or seed, and more that helps my life, no matter how long, how short. If I have long life, then I build that, develop that, right? And then I have lots of freedoms, and I will sort of cultivate my inner peace, my inner qualities, right? If I have short life, then I have some sort of, the cause conditions that good for my life. So next life, I can build on that. That's why, that's the way how we get liberation. We develop more and more slowly, step by step. So that's we have to think, am I ready? That's we have to think, right? That's we have to think and prepare for our life. You can say, am I ready for tomorrow? Tomorrow tomorrow will be a good day or not. It depends on today, your what do you call it, your preparation. If you prepare well, then tomorrow will be good. So that's all. That's very important, okay? Any questions? Yep. Thank you. Well, when you practice Tonglen, you're really not giving up yourself, though. You actually taking care of yourself. So that's maybe a little bit unclear there, because when you meditate on Tonglen, it's good for others, but actually you are developing sort of kind mind and big heart. So that I mean, by you're not giving up yourself. So when we say it's you give things to others and you take negatives, it's actually kind of, if you think about the words, it's you're giving totally up, right? But actually, in order to do that, you need capacity, and is part of the aspiration, practice aspiration bodhicitta. So you are actually developing sort of a kind mind. Because if you do this, you will see other situation, so that sort of you can cultivate your compassion because of that, right? And then also you are developing that the equanimity. So there are two sort of, the benefit of yourself, benefit of others. Benefit of yourself is you develop your compassion, develop your bodhicitta, which is the foundation of all the path, all the teachings of Buddhas. And the benefit of others is if you develop that compassion more and more, then the result will be you really don't want harm others. You don't want have an enemy. You don't want harm others. So you're physically sort of your conduct, your actions will be very pleasant and harmony with others. You're mentally develop the compassion for others. So therefore, I think to think about Tonglen practice is very profound. But for beginners, maybe it's difficult to practice like you give everything. You imagine that everything that you possess, health, good health, everything sort of you visualize, give to others. And other sort of negative emotions, all of that you receive, that's maybe not good way to start practice Tonglen. It depends your capacity, So then you just, there is another way to practice Tonglen. We've done that many times, right? But the benefit practice, the Tonglen practice is really, really, there are two ways they call it, benefit of yourself and benefit of others. Is that clear? Yeah, so, don't really think that you give up yourself. That's kind of, for the Westerners, I think, perspective view, giving up yourself is kind of sort of, negative, right? It's actually not, but it's people, that people think. So, but if you really investigate this practice, you are not giving up. You actually develop your qualities, inner qualities, and physically your conduct, your actions, you develop that because you are no longer have thought that harm others verbally, physically, mentally. So you develop really qualities, compassion, especially compassion, right? Love, and all of that. That's the result of the practice of Tonglen. So it's very good. Yes. Yes, it's hardly hardly really the belief that we have a limitless qualities. It's difficult to understand that, but we do. We do have that qualities, like wisdom, like great compassion, uh, the ultimate bodhicitta, all of that. These qualities are limitless. So then that's why I think Tonglen practice is really profound, because this is the part of the aspiration bodhicitta practice. So um, we all know that how important to have a bodhicitta mind. So it's so important. That's why I'm saying the cause of happiness is actually how we understand the between external and internal, the between you and me. If you understand it correctly and you really know how to uh, uh, make the relationship with you and others, that's the cause of happiness. Anyway, now meditate a few minutes, okay? I want you meditate on shamatha and vipassana together. We've done this many times, so I think we have to develop this more and more. Uh, so I don't have to teach you this, how to meditate on that, but just you have to remember the instructions. That's very important. Uh, do not sort of, um, think further in anything. Our problem is the meditation. When we meditate, our problem is we really have lots of thoughts, and um, we're really interested to think about our thoughts. That's the main obstacle for meditation. So the rest in the nature, and the masters always say no stop, right? No stop, not try to stop, but not further in anything. Do you understand what that means? Not try to stop your thoughts. You cannot do that. But not further in anything means really don't follow your thoughts one after another, one after another. that's not good. So just relax, just to relax and let it go. Let it go means you are not also giving up yourself, okay? Sometimes people misunderstand. Let go everything means like you don't take care of everything. That's misunderstand. Let go means these thoughts, if you don't follow your thoughts, they are automatically disappear and dissolve into your mind back. And then you are there. You are here. So if you don't try to stop your thoughts and don't further it anymore, then you are there. If you try to stop your thoughts, you thinking about your thought, you are not meditating. Physically you are just very stable like this, but you're inside you have lots of activities. You are not meditating. So that's how you investigate. Am I meditating or not? So if you try to stop your thoughts or further anything, then you would say, I'm not meditating. But if you don't do this, just you are there 100%. That's the mindfulness, practice mindfulness. So just to relax, okay? Just to relax physically, mentally. Always I use this, emotionally, relax. And just to relax and try to understand true nature. When you start your meditation, maybe you need to focus on your breath for a while, because that gives you very sort of calm and peaceful. Once you have sort of peaceful mind and very calm, then you don't really need to focus on anything. Just this we call objectless practice. Just to relax. Something is bothers you, then you are not meditating. You hear the sound, you see the the things, forms, everything, and then you're labeling. You are not meditating. So if you really focus on inner peacefulness or this nature of mind, nothing can really bothers you. For example, when you meditate, you hear the sounds. Don't really follow that. Just to ignore. And bring your mind back into your objectless meditation. Okay?